Hi, Jill Landry here from recoveringwoman.com. I have been going to make this video for a little while now, but since I'm coming up on close to a year since my tubal ligation and endometrial ablation, I thought now is a great time, better time than any to get started, right? So first and foremost, hit the subscribe button if this is a video that you can relate to, if it interests you. My channel is kind of all over the place right now, but you can come back here to find information on specific things like tubal ligation, post-tubal ligation syndrome, endometrial ablation. I'm going to be doing more recordings, and I'm going to be letting you know how this changed my life, how to manage these symptoms, different things that I've done that may or may not work for you. But at the end of the day, when I was able to connect with some people that were going through the same thing as I was, it's helped tremendously. It's saved me so much time and helped me enjoy parts of my life more than when I was living with post-tubal ligation syndrome and still suffering from some of the after effects, even after I've had a tubal reversal. So specifically, this video is going to be titled A Year Later, okay? I want to make a couple of separate videos so that they can be very specific when you're searching for them. This one is going to be specifically titled A Year Later, okay? What a huge change this made in my life. What a tremendous change this made in my life. So a year ago, I went in for what I thought was 2 procedures that were going to make sure I couldn't have any more children because I didn't want any more. We've got 3 kids. I was sick of birth control, the side effects from the birth control, the IUDs, the extra hormones, the things that I've learned over the last several years about my body, about medical procedures, about food, about so many things, was that I didn't want to put anything in my body anymore. And why it didn't occur to me that a surgery like this could cause an issue, I don't know. I'm not sure, because I'm one that researches, I'm one that checks everything out, and at the end of the day, I just thought this is going to be a permanent thing that I won't have to worry about birth control anymore. I'm at a point in my life where I no longer want any more children, and then it was recommended that I had an endometrial ablation if I wasn't going to have any kids, because I did have heavy periods. I had a good 3 or 4 days that were just kind of miserable and sometimes would leave me stuck at home. So my gynecologist said, hey, we can do this at the same time. This would probably either make your periods much lighter or get rid of them permanently. So I was like, okay, great. I trusted my gynecologist. I trusted my doctor, just like I did before with other things. And I should have known, but I can't go backwards. So went in for these procedures. Within 2 weeks, I was in surgical menopause. My body was just shocked. Now, before I went in for these procedures, I have to tell you, it had been 5.5 years since I had been on any medication whatsoever for my depression, my anxiety. I had postpartum depression with my children. So I was on Zoloft after my kids and sometimes while I was pregnant because it was so bad. The hormones really messed with my mental state. So I had been off of birth control for almost a full year before I went in for this procedure, because a lot of times that's the doctors are going to tell you, that you just went off birth control, so that's why you're having some issues. So I went into these 2 elective surgeries that I chose to do and told that there was no side effects whatsoever. Healthy, happy, kind of excited that I wasn't going to have to worry about birth control and even maybe possibly get rid of periods. Hallelujah, right? What woman wouldn't want to do that? And I woke up and I was okay. The surgery actually went really well. Aside from some additional scar tissue that the gynecologist said she had some issues with. She said there was no other issues. I had the Novasure endometrial ablation, and I had my tubes burned because I specifically didn't want clips. I didn't want my tubes removed. I thought burning them was the way to do it, and I would suffer the least, issues. So about 2 weeks later, I went in to what I consider to be surgical menopause. Within about 48 hours, I started having hot flashes. Never had them in my life. I had a headache that I couldn't get to go away. I had joint pain was freaking insane. All these things that at first I was like, okay, I'm just fresh out of surgery. I don't have any. The only surgeries I've ever had is for my C-sections. I don't usually go under anesthesia. So I just kept attributing it to that. It was like my second week in, right into the third week, when the overwhelming feeling of depression, anxiety, and panic attacks hit. And I started freaking out, like, what the hell is going on? I had been seeing a therapist on and off through my whole life. But recently I had been seeing her that summer prior to this surgery, just for some things that were going on in my life. And she was kind of helping me work through some things. So I went back to her about 3 weeks after my procedures, and she was blown away. She's like, oh my gosh, what happened? You are not the same person. And I'm like, I know, I'm not. She wanted me to go to the emergency room and get Valium, because the panic attacks were just out of control. I was having a hard time functioning. You guys, I could not get up off the couch. And I was a person that, I get up in the morning, I don't stop. I got 3 kids, I go, go, go. I have worked myself from an angry, miserable, unhappy person to being positive, outgoing. Like, there's so many changes that had went on in my life that this was like I flipped back to the old me, only worse. And my therapist was like, what is going on with you? And I'm like, I don't know. So I left there, did not go to the hospital for Valium. I didn't want any freaking drugs. I did go see my general practitioner, not my gynecologist, and she put me back on Zoloft because I'm like, I have to have something. I don't know what is going on. I feel like I'm in postpartum depression again. And she had actually seen me a couple months prior, and she's like, okay, there's something going on. So I went back to the gynecologist, and this was my 4-week follow-up after the 2 procedures. And I went back to my gynecologist, and I said, look, something's wrong. I don't know what's going on, but something is wrong. I'm not sure what happened. Everything feels okay down there. Like, I wasn't having any severe pain. I was sore. There was a lot that went on down there. So I was definitely sore, but I'm like, something is wrong. Like, I've got all these issues. I've had a headache that hasn't went away since I woke up. I can't hardly walk. My knees hurt so bad I can barely get up. I'm napping 6 times a day. I don't do that. And she said, well, I'm not sure what it is, but I think your depression is worse and we should probably put you on some more meds. And I'm like, God, there was nothing wrong with me before this fucking surgery. So she agreed, even very apprehensively. I said, I'd like to have my hormones tested, knowing that it's blood work. And really, when we have our hormones tested, we need to have them tested through like a naturopath, so that we're testing them as women through the whole 30 days of the month, because each day our hormones are like crazy, right? But I thought, I'm feeling so terrible right now. Excuse me. Something has to show up, right? So apprehensively, she tested my hormones that day. They called me within 24 hours and said, we got your blood work back. You are testing in premenopause, and, we can put you on some hormone replacement. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, I'm 36 years old. I was at the prime of my life. I was feeling so good. I worked out every day. I don't even know how to explain it. I was devastated, completely devastated. By this time, I had found the group Post-Tubal Ligation Syndrome, and if anybody wants to join that group, let me know. It's a group of amazing women that are going through very similar things, and we just help each other out. We talk back and forth. So let me know in the comments below if you want to be a part of that group. I'll go ahead and put the Facebook link in there. I'm a moderator for it. I help when I can. I also do a lot of social media management and run my own page and stuff like that too, so I don't get to participate as much as I'd like. But by this time, I had found this group. I figured out what post-tubal ligation syndrome was, and fast forward through hours and hours and hours of reading, researching, talking to other women, I decided that one of the ways I could possibly fix this was to have a tubal reversal. I didn't want any more kids, but I didn't want to live like this. And from everything that I had read and I had learned, that it is going to progressively get worse and it's not going to get any better. And if I had a chance at possibly getting better, I needed to have it, and I needed to have it right now. There was no point. My whole entire family, I had very, very little support in this. They knew something was wrong. They knew that I wasn't myself, but they wanted me to wait and see if I felt better and see if things just got better. And everything that I had studied, and you guys, like, I read medical records and journals and studies. I don't just believe what's on Facebook. My daughter was vaccine injured about 6 years ago. So when it comes to finding accurate medical information, I'm not just somebody that believes things off of Facebook. Like, I dig for hours to find things. So I'm very educated when it comes to that. And at the end of the day, I knew that I needed to have this reversal done to possibly help me feel better. So I did a bunch of research, talked to a bunch of women. I talked to lots of women that had the reversal done just to reverse the effects of post-tubal ligation syndrome. And what I ended up doing was I chose Dr. Maurice in Louisiana to do my reversal. I'm in North Dakota. Okay, so very scary shit here. Like, I had to fly all the way to Louisiana, have a surgery, and fly back. Couple of things that came up. First and foremost, I am so far from home. What if something happens? Second, this is a surgery that 98% of the time is not covered by medical insurance. Even if you have a case that your tubal ligation caused these issues, I fought with my insurance company and I said, look, I was fine before this. This is a possibility. 92% of women that have the reversal feel at least somewhat better after. I went to them with my case, they wouldn't cover it. So in a matter of, from September 26th, December 6th was my reversal. The reversal with plane tickets, lodging, paying cash for the reversal, I spent a little over $8,000. It was our down payment for our house, a good chunk of our down payment for our house. While my husband was supportive, he was very much apprehensive about it, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, it was a really scary time, but I had some people that were supporting me. I had a best friend that's like my ride or die, and she was basically like, if you feel this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. And my husband couldn't go with me. He had to work, and she came with me. I paid her way to go, and she took 5 days. It was actually 4 days. We left on a Tuesday morning, and I was home Friday night. Yeah. So I'm going to do some separate videos about some of the things, like the actual reversal, what happened, how the procedure went, and things like that. I am about 80 to 85% symptoms gone. Now, remember, I didn't just have a tubal, I had an ablation, so I believe that the ablation also has some hormonal effects on women. Regret it. I haven't had a period since, so, you know, it's like, oh, yay. But at the same time, I've got some other issues, I think, from the ablation. There's a lot of side effects from that also. And I'm one that I just, you know, what you think is how you are and how your life unfolds. So I'm working very hard to change my thinking that I'm not going to be one of the ones that has to have a hysterectomy after an ablation. 40% of women do. I want my body parts, okay? So about 85% of my symptoms disappeared, many of them within 48 hours of the reversal. My headache, gone, like literally gone. The brain fog, gone. Those are just some. Within a couple of days, the joint pain disappeared. I felt immediately better. Now that I'm coming up on a year, I feel like the reversal went well. I'll get into some more specifics on another video. I didn't have much tube left. You know, our fallopian tubes are roughly 7 to 10 centimeters on each side. And when he reconnected, so when they did the ablation, I had formed within a couple of months so much scar tissue that it filled my uterus and went up through my tube, my one tube. So he actually had to disconnect and reconnect one of my tubes to my uterus. Dr. Maurice is one of the best in the country. Like, he is phenomenal, like unbelievably phenomenal. He was amazing. I only had 3 centimeters on one side and 3.5 on another left. And I had minimal flow and moderate flow because they test the flow to see how the tubes work, because a lot of times they're doing these reversals for pregnancy. Now, I feel like about 3 or 4 months, knowing my scar tissue issues, he did go in and remove some of the scar tissue out of my uterus, did say it could come back and could cause some issues during my monthly cycle, whether I'm bleeding or not. And I do feel like about 3 or 4 months after my reversal that my tubes became blocked. And I do feel like I have some scar tissue back in my uterus because of some things during the month that I'm feeling. Now, do I know if my tubes are blocked for sure or not? No, but I vaguely remember that time and how I was feeling. And I think that now, I don't think that you go all the way back to a full post-tubal ligation syndrome if your tubes become blocked. But I do believe that it has an effect on your hormones again. And it did. I think that it did with me. I don't know for sure. Honestly, I'm scared to death to even go see doctors. So I do a lot of things at home to try and maintain and manage symptoms and things like that. But almost a year later, I'm definitely feeling better than I did shortly after my tubal, and I'm literally just figuring it out. I'm literally just trying to figure it out. Sometimes it's day to day. My moods sometimes, depending on my cycle, is definitely more severe. I wanted to give my body 12 months to just be, just be. And I've used some all-natural things in between. I'm a thriver. I don't know, this isn't promoting anything, but with a company called Lavelle, I've taken Thrive for 6 years, and that's something that I never stopped doing. So I take some additional vitamin supplements. I've always done that. Acupuncture has been a tremendous help for me. I've also taken some other supplements that worked, didn't work. Now I'm getting ready to start some new hormone, all natural supplements. So I will try and keep that updated on this channel. And I know my first video got over 1,000 views. So I know that there's women out there searching to find out what's going on with them and how to fix it. So there is a private Facebook group. Like I said, if you want to know a little bit more about it, go ahead and leave a message below. You can find me on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram that much. My profile's on there, but I don't use it. I have a business page, Jill Landry, and I also have a personal page, Jill Landry. So you can find me there, or you can subscribe and comment here. And I'm getting more active on YouTube, so I'm going back in there and responding to comments. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, share this video with anybody you think that could benefit from it. I'm going to record a couple of more videos this week and make sure that they're a little bit more specific, because I know when I was searching for information, I wanted to know specifically what was going on. So thanks for listening.